east. Life is navigation. But without orientation, we are in the dark. Where shall I go? Here? There? What about there? Why not here? Orientation is the key. Whoever masters orientation conquers the world. Today, knowing where you are on Earth is obvious. But it wasn't always like this. It took thousands of years for mankind to identify every square meters of this planet. Explorers and scientists have dedicated their lives to mastering orientation. They all share the same spirit, navigating the world. Watch the currents, feel the winds, keep to the coastline, follow the birds. Carefully record everything in your mind, in your logbook. The mind was the first navigational instrument, and precision was its best friend. These instruments allow you to travel over land and sea. Astrolabes, compass roses, sextants, quadrants, chronometers. But were these instruments built to explore the world, or was the world explored because of them? That is the question. No, I don't know how it works. But I know it does.
In the time of the ancient Greeks, the journey was entirely in the pilot's hands. His knowledge of currents and winds, combined with sailing along the coast, was called periply. 1,000 years later, the Vikings headed west, following the migrating birds. They were the first to set foot on the new continent. Over the centuries, the art of recording information was refined and came to be known as dead reckoning. If you knew the time, speed, and direction, you can find out the distance. It's all about precision.
Every morning, and for every one of us, the sun rises in the east. The sun paces our daily life. So why not have east as point of reference for navigation? Why is north the reference? To put it differently, why is north north and west not south? Am I making any sense?
Take an iron needle, let it float in water. The needle will point to the north, always. Now we know why. We know that the North Pole works as a giant magnet, but for centuries, navigators didn't know why. They just trusted the needle. North became the point of reference. The compass principle was discovered by the Chinese at the beginning of the first millennium. 1,000 years later, the people of Amalfi, the most important Italian harbor then, made the compass reliable. Ironically, it's partly thanks to the compass that the Venetian Marco Polo headed east and arrived in China. We've come full circle. Navigation is trust.
Sometimes a few seconds of genius suffice to make science advance. But it can also take ages. The sky, for instance, has always been a source of mystery, as well as a source of knowledge. Strangely enough, the sky divided the astronomers, but never the navigators. It was always their best friend. The sea can lie, but the stars never. Wherever you are in the northern hemisphere, the North Star shines for you. From this evidence, the Greeks first established the notion of latitude. It is a fairly simple concept, measuring the distance between the North Star and the horizon. The higher the North Star is in the sky, the further north you are. The closer the North Star is to the horizon, the further south you are.
The astrolabe, the first instrument ever to calculate that distance, was conceived in antiquity, but it was thanks to the Arabs that it became a reliable navigational tool. During the Middle Ages, the mastering of the astrolabe was a key component of the amazing Portuguese achievements in exploration. In embarking to open a new route to India, there was at least one thing Christopher Columbus was sure of. He knew how to keep his latitude while sailing west. The astrolabe was given its final form by the English. In the 18th century, it became the sextant, an instrument of highest precision. The history of navigation made sure that latitude was part of its heritage. Navigation is heritage too.
But if latitude was not an issue, longitude was. Scientists couldn't find anything reliable, but one knew the answer: time. If one could keep time accurately at sea and compare it with the reference time on land, then one would have his longitude. How? We know it takes 24 hours for the Earth to complete one rotation. Give me your latitude and your exact time, and I will give you your exact location. All I have to do is deduct one from the other.
But keeping exact time at sea proved to be a challenge far more difficult than expected. Hourglasses were not reliable enough, and no watch movement could resist the waves. In 1714, the King of England decided to award £20,000 to the scientist who could provide the solution, but no one could. John Harrison, a carpenter from Yorkshire, dedicated his life to this challenge. He built a clock so refined that it could be taken to sea and still tell exact time. But Harrison was a perfectionist. It wasn't enough for him to have built the most precise timekeeper of its era. He wanted the piece to be absolutely perfect. It took him 40 years to achieve perfection. The final clock for which he was awarded the money has been called the Mona Lisa of horology ever since. We know it as the chronometer, and it changed the world of navigators. Navigation had become time.
Of course, the instruments make the difference. Navigators needed the compass, the sextant, and the chronometer. But science alone cannot achieve everything. It needs the right spirit, it needs precision, trust, heritage, and perfection. We started in the dark and slowly learned how to master the science of navigation. Today we have conquered the seas and navigated the world. Well, at least ours.